Auschwitz is known as a place of death and extermination. It lives in infamy as the biggest concentration and death camp of the Nazi regime. However, within the horrific and despicable acts committed in the camp was a Polish heroine who was delivering miracles on a daily basis. Today we investigate the Midwife of Auschwitz. Born to a Polish Catholic family in Lodz in 1896, Stanisława Leszczyńska would have a rather different upbringing. Her father went into the Imperial Army and was sent to Turkestan, and to make ends meet, her mother worked 12-hour shifts in a factory. This allowed Stanisława to be sent to a private school. When her father returned to Poland, the family left for Brazil, staying in Rio de Janeiro in a quest for money. 2 years later, they returned to Poland. Completing high school in 1914, the year the First World War broke out, her father again was drafted into the army. In 1916, she married a printer, Bronislaw Leszczyński. Stanisława gave birth to a son in 1917, and 2 years later gave birth to a daughter, Sylvia. In 1920, the whole family moved to Warsaw, and Stanisława enrolled at midwife college there and completed her studies. She won an achievement there and stood out amongst her peers for excellence. Moving back to Lodz, she got a job there and gave birth to more children. In 1939, the Nazis invaded Poland, and suddenly the family found themselves living in an occupied country. The city of Lodz became home to the second largest number of Jews in Poland, and a ghetto was established there. More than a third of the city's population was crammed into a tiny area of the city and was forced to work for the Nazis. The conditions in the ghetto were horrific and shocked the Leszczyńska family, and they decided to help. They began to smuggle false documents and food to Jews inside the ghetto, and became part of the Polish resistance. Stanisława was caught red-handed, however, and was brought to the Gestapo on February 18, 1943. 3 of her younger children were also arrested. Her husband and oldest son managed to flee the city, avoiding capture. The Nazis sent the 2 younger sons to the stone quarries of Mauthausen. Stanisława would never see her husband again, with him being killed in the fighting in the Warsaw Uprising. After being interrogated by the Gestapo, Stanisława Leszczyńska and her 24-year-old daughter Sylvia were transported to Auschwitz. Upon arriving, she found a German doctor and told him she was a midwife. Stanisława was sent to the women's camp infirmary with her daughter, who also had a background in medicine. She was assigned to work in the maternity ward, but was shocked to see a disgustingly filthy barracks that was a horrific place to care for pregnant women. At Auschwitz, most of the pregnant women were sent to the gas chambers. If women found out they were pregnant at the camp, they were sometimes given abortions by Gisela Perl, a doctor who carried out this procedure. Also, women who found out they were pregnant would be executed barbarically. Some of the pregnant women were sent to the squalid hospital barracks to wait out their pregnancy. Staffed by Sister Clara, a midwife who had been sent to Auschwitz for murdering a child, she was in charge of declaring babies as stillborn. Horrifically, Sister Clara and her staff would then drown a large number of babies in buckets, often in front of their mothers. Sister Clara had no role in the delivery of the babies, just the destruction of them. Disgusted at what was expected of her in Auschwitz, Leszczyńska refused to carry out these duties to doctors. Her son later wrote, "Why did they not kill her then? No one knows." This refusal often led to threats and beatings by Clara, but Leszczyńska began to care for the mothers and began delivering their babies. Knowing that most of the babies would be killed within a few hours, she worked to save as many of the mothers' lives as possible. It was almost impossible, with no running water, very little blankets, no food and no diapers. Leszczyńska would quickly work out that the safest place to deliver the baby was over a rarely lit brick stove in the centre of the barracks. The barracks would also fill with water and flood when it rained. Helped by her daughter, Stanisława Leszczyńska would deliver 3,000 babies during her 2 years at Auschwitz. She constantly refused to kill babies despite being told to do so. She even stood up to the angel of death, the infamous Josef Mengele. Some of the babies delivered were given to Nazi couples under the Lebensborn program, which kidnapped up to 100,000 babies in Poland. Leszczyńska and her assistants would try to tattoo the babies so they could be reunited one day with their mothers. Leszczyńska would feel hopeless at the situation. She would just keep working, baptising Christian babies and caring for the women as best as she could. Medical historians estimate that of the 3,000 babies delivered by her, half were drowned 1,000 died quickly of starvation or cold, 500 were sent to other families, and only 30 survived the camp. It is thought that all of the mothers survived childbirth. In early 1945, the Nazis forced the majority of the inmates of Auschwitz on a death march to other camps. However, Stanisława Leszczyńska would refuse and stayed in the camp until its liberation. Her legacy would live on long after the camp's liberation. Survivors would write about her kindness and incredible work. Maria Salomon, a lady whose child was born in Auschwitz, wrote, "To this day, I do not know at what price she delivered my baby. My Liz owes her life to Stanisława. I cannot thank her without tears coming into my eyes." Following the war, Leszczyńska returned to work in Lodz as a midwife. She would only talk about her time at Auschwitz when she retired. Today in Poland, she is seen as a hero and has been nominated for sainthood in the Catholic Church. A remarkable woman of extreme bravery and courage, Stanisława Leszczyńska, the Midwife of Auschwitz. Thank you for watching. To support the channel, please subscribe. Thank you once again.